So, a lot of people have been talking about the conspiracy theories that revolve around Tyler Robinson with assassinating Charlie Kirk. But what about just the straight facts? No conspiracy, just the facts of what we do know. So I'm going to be going over video with you as well as reading the affidavit of probable cause and the other documents and breaking this stuff down for you to understand what evidence and charges we have. Okay, first we have the affidavit of probable cause. Now this was done on September 12th. This was after Tyler Robinson was arrested. And you see that there is 3 charges. Now there ends up being more charges that are added on later. And in this, we're going to sit here and go through what the suspect did. And then they're going to sit there and say, this is why we think Tyler Robinson is our suspect. Now, the first 3 charges that they have is aggravated murder, felony discharge of a firearm, and obstruction of justice. Okay, so first let's set the scene. We have this as September 10th. Charlie Kirk is at the courtyard and the loose center building is to the east of it. Okay, so we have Charlie Kirk is over here. Here's the courtyard and this is the loose center building. And you see up here in the top right is your cardinal directions, north, east, south, and west. It now goes over how Charlie was dressed, t-shirt, the pants and everything, exactly like this image as you see here. Now I'm showing you this angle to show you how he was laid down on the roof, but more importantly right now to show you where the canopy was set up and so you can understand that there is a walkway behind there. Now in the affidavit it says that there was people on the left, the front, the right, as well as there was some that was in the tunnel that's back here. So let me show you footage of what it looked like behind. Now this is from a TikToker who possibly took the video from someone else. Maybe it's their own, don't know. But anyhow, this is how the tunnel was right behind there. You see how his vehicle was placed behind there to get out of there. Okay, next we have how they say he had a microphone. You see it's in his hand right here, but you also see that he had one that was attached to his shirt on his right side. Now Charlie was shot over here on his left side. I am not going to play this video due to the graphic content, but there is a conspiracy that was going around that said, hey, this microphone was the one that shot him. Well, it's not because it's on the wrong side. And I do understand that it moved and I'll show you. And it only moved because of after he got shot. So you see here, right here, he was already shot. So that is what caused the shirt to lift up. And obviously that is going to bring the microphone over. Now, again, I'm not going to play the rest of this video, but I do know that there are some people that for whatever reason, they want to believe that there was no blood. Sadly, there was a hole that was immediate in the front, and then you've seen a lot that came out of the side of his neck or back left side of his neck. Okay, I wanted to spell another conspiracy that's going around. You have a lot of people that say that a 30-06 could have not been used. Number one, every single one of these people that go out and try to replicate the shot, they want to do it from ground level and they want to do it straight on. None of them want to sit here and do it at a downward angle. So that's problem number one. Number two, we have no idea what that grain is. We will find out what that grain is because why? We have 3 other unused bullets. The next thing is that while the bullet is lodged in these bones that we know of or that we're being told, we do not know how the backside looks. So it can still cause this explosion, but no one has seen video of what the backside of Charlie's back looked like we could be having an explosion that took place here, but we don't know it. Why? Because the shirt contained a lot of it. Does that make sense to y'all? Okay, next thing is right here, it talks about the type of clothing that the suspect wore. So this is how the suspect was dressed. And these shoes is something that's very interesting because they say that they are Chuck Taylor Converse shoes. Now, how do they know that they're Chuck Taylor? Well, in the FBI, you have certain areas of people that stay in the specifics of things. You'll have some people that deal with IDing motorcycles, cars, what years, the models, and then you have some people that do clothing as well as shoes. So these are Chuck Taylor Converse shoes. What is interesting is the color of the shoelaces are, as you see here, and you're supposed to be having what I think, don't hold me to it, you're supposed to be having gray shoelaces. So when you sit here and you look at Tyler Robinson's shoes, oh, what do you have? You have someone that also has Chuck Taylor Converse shoes, and you have those shoelaces. Another important thing that deals with the shoes is when the suspect is jumping off of this roof, they'll come down and they hit the ground right there. And in that exact spot is an imprint that is left of Chuck Taylor Converse shoes. Okay, I want to dispel another conspiracy, and that's that there was no shadow shown. Well, I want to show you that there is a shadow shown. So first, when we start out, we have where the suspect is running behind here, and then you lose sight of him a little bit, and then you see where they're in the window, they come through and they're running here. Now you can zoom in on your YouTube and you can actually see that there is a shadow that's right there. And as they come across here, you see how there's a little bit of shadow that's here. But then when he steps fully on the white area, that shadow's gone. The reason why is this is a regular camera. This isn't something that is able to say, hey, this is a very, very bright surface, so let's adjust for the contrast here. If it was able to adjust for the contrast, guess what? You would be able to see that shadow. But because that white area is so bright, you're going to lose the shadow. And that's also why you lose a little bit of them. But as you've seen, when they come right here, you can see the shadow is on the lip of the edge of the roof right here that comes back into play. Another thing that I want to dispel is that some people say that, hey, the rifle was broken down. Number one, it is not broken down. What the suspect did was wrap a towel around it, and you will see right here as I go back and forth, that is the towel that is laid around there. Now, I don't know the exact length of the rifle, but it's roughly around 48 inches. Usually when you hold a rifle, you're going to hold it about at a halfway point or about a little more than 1/3 of the way. And when you're doing that, you will see that it makes sense that, hey, you have something that you know about 1.5 feet on this side, and then you have the barrel on the other end. And as I continue to play this, there is more and more times where you see where it's like that, including right here as the suspect is bringing it down. You can see right here, again, another thing that is covered by the towel as the suspect is coming down. In fact, you can see it a lot better right here as I go back and forth. Okay, and then they drop, and even as they drop, you can see that, hey, this is a rifle that is covered by a towel that's right here. One other thing that I do want to let you know is that they tell you later on that they have other videos that are out there. We just only seen just a few of them, enough to sit there and say, hey, does this look like anybody to y'all? They don't care to sit there and show you all of their evidence of who it is, as well as evidence that they find later on. Evidence will be something that will be disclosed to us as time goes on through the next couple of years or few years, or we won't even get to see it until the trial starts. One other thing is that people will notice, like, hey, there's someone that's walking here. There's another person that's walking down here. Maybe did they see something? We don't know. You have hundreds of people that were in attendance as an eyewitness to this. So what is going to be their statements? We don't know. It's not like TikTok, okay, to where everybody just comes out and just starts throwing all their evidence out there. The FBI and the police hold this together for a period of time until they disclose it to the courts, and then that is where the defense side sits there and looks at it. But it's not something that they're going to sit there and say, hey, let's go ahead and share it with all of you people right now. They don't want you to build a case. Does that make sense to y'all? Now here's another camera here where you can see that the suspect is walking here with a distinctive gait. And you also saw the imprint of the shirt there as well. So yes, a very distinctive gait. Now immediately after the shot, you've seen no longer that distinctive gait. They were able to bend the leg with ease and jump off that roof, as well as you will see when they are coming back on this exact same ring camera through back here, they were able to run through, and then you will see them come out right towards the end. Yeah, right here. And they were able to run completely fine, no distinctive gait at all. Okay, I'm now going to read the next part off to you. At approximately 11:50 hours at the university, surveillance camera first captured a suspect walking across a grassy area north of the campus drive at approximately 800 West. Now, again, this is the camera at the university. That doesn't mean that they were not seeing cameras at other locations before, okay? Just keep that in thought. Suspect walked south through the parking lot and approached a pedestrian tunnel that runs underneath the campus drive. Before entering the tunnel, suspect paused at the top of the stairs and pulled out what appeared to be a cell phone from his right pocket using his right hand at approximately 11:53. Suspect eventually put what appeared to be a cell phone back in his right pants pocket using his right hand. Surveillance captured the suspect making his way towards the loose center. Now, this is important. By chance, did the suspect use a cell phone to make a call or receive a call, make a text? We do not know. But what they're going to do is look at Tyler Robinson and see, hey, what happened at 11:53, and then they will do a triangulation to see, hey, is it putting Tyler Robinson with the suspect at the top of the stairs at that time? Now, it could be that nothing was done and there's just nothing more to this, or there could be something more here that ties the suspect to Tyler Robinson. Does that make sense to y'all? At approximately 12:02, the suspect was recorded walking on the north side of the Loose Center building. Let me show you. So here's the Loose Center building, and this is north. They were walking in this area. And walking with the same gait as observed earlier. Suspect entered the loose center building through a set of doors on the southeast corner of the loose center building. So that set of doors is going to be somewhere in this vicinity. At approximately 12:15, suspect was observed walking up the stairs that lead to the common area adjacent to the loose center building. Suspect walked to a short concrete wall that separates the common area from the rooftop of the loose center building. At approximately 12:17, suspect climbed over the short wall and appeared to crouch down on the north side of the wall on the rooftop. At approximately 12:22, suspect stood up and started running across the rooftop of the loose center building. The notable limp from previous surveillance was absent. Suspect ran to the west side of the rooftop and appeared to scout along the rooftop area as he got closer to the edge of the rooftop. At approximately 12:22, suspect laid down in a position consistent with a prone shooting position near the edge of the rooftop and appeared to be facing west in the direction of the courtyard. Again, this is how the site is for when you are on the loose center building and you're looking to the west, which is where Charlie Kirk was. So this is exactly how it would have been for their viewing. I want to show you another thing. This is how far the distance is from that spot down there to Charlie Kirk's tent. It's roughly going to be 135 yards. And I know that a lot of people sit there and say 200 yards and they think that it's really hard. Well, guess what? This is only 135 yards. A lot of hunters make this type of shot all the time. Now, here is an eyewitness video that the person released this, and they even say on this how you can see someone that's right here. And they also go through to sit there and say how they ran from the right side over to here and hit a shooting prone position. So at approximately 12:22, the suspect laid down in a position consistent with a prone shooting position near the edge of the rooftop and appeared to be facing to the west in the direction of the courtyard. The rooftop of the loose center building overlooks the courtyard area where the event featuring Charlie Kirk was taking place. The loose center building is east to the courtyard area. At approximately 12:23, Charlie Kirk was shot. So do you understand how fast that happened? All within about a couple of minutes. At approximately 12:23, surveillance shows the suspect stands up and suddenly from the edge of the rooftop and sprinted north of the rooftop of the loose center building. So this is another video and you will see where someone runs across the top right there. Let me slow it down for you. So you can see them right here and they are sprinting away from that spot that they just made the shot from. So here we are right here, and to the north is how they ran. Again, cardinal directions, okay? So they sprinted this way across after the suspect made the shot. Now you've been seeing me show this image here, but I also want to show you what it's like right here. And you see the markers that they put. Now this shows the exact position of how the suspect was laid out on top of the building where they took the shot from at Charlie Kirk. Now, before I continue on, I want to show you another thing that's going around. People will say, man, that looks nothing like Tyler Robinson. Well, that's because a lot of y'all are looking at artificial intelligent enhancement images. So how do you know that? Well, look at the shirt. It's totally different. It's not even the eagle imprint. So when you go into AI and you say, hey, enhance this image, it just fills in what it wants to make something. It's not like television of using a computer system that sits there and goes in and removes grain and makes it more smooth and sharper to see something. So a lot of these images that you're seeing is artificial intelligence, and that's why you sit there and say this looks nothing like Tyler Robinson. So now we have the suspect made the shot, and now they're running through here. Now don't think for a second that they don't have a video of showing the shooter make the shot, okay? Another thing is that while it does lose sight a little bit, you can look through these windows and you can see running behind here. Okay, so here they come, they run across here. I already explained the shadow reasoning, and you can see the towel is draped across a rifle, and then they come and they drop down, and when they hit here in this spot, that is where a shoe imprint is left. That is a Chuck Taylor Converse shoe. At approximately 12:23, the surveillance shows the suspect stood up suddenly from the edge of the rooftop and sprinted to the north rooftop of the Luce Center building. Suspect ran northeast corner of the Luce Center building and approached the edge of the rooftop. Suspect placed a dark colored item on the rooftop and proceeded to lower himself on the off the rooftop. Suspect dropped off the rooftop onto the grass below. Suspect ran north near the parking lot to the east of the Luce Center. At approximately 12:24, suspect ran north across the drive road. Suspect appeared to be carrying an item whose identity is not clear from the surveillance. Now, that does not mean that they are not able to tell from other surveillance footage. It's talking about this surveillance footage. The area to the north of Campus Drive Road where suspect crossed over consists of a grassy area with trees on the edge of the UVU campus. So I'm not sure which group of trees it is. It may be this one, it may be this, or this. Investigators discovered a bolt-action rifle wrapped in a dark-colored towel. The rifle was determined to be a Mosser Model 98 30-06 caliber bolt-action rifle. The rifle had a scope mounted on top of it. Again, the scope was mounted on top. Some people, for whatever reason, have been doing a conspiracy that the rifle was broken down and that the scope was taken off. No, everything was still intact after the shooting. And here is an image that the police officers took of what they found. And so here is the rifle. And let's not get it confused. I know how some people are with conspiracies. They'll be like, oh, so we put it in the box. They took a picture of it like this so that they can take it on in for evidence. It's not how they discovered it, okay? Investigators noticed inscriptions that had been engraved on casings found with the rifle. Inscriptions on a fire casing read, "Notices bulge OWO." What's this? Well, let me tell you a possibility of what this is. So this comes from like internet games, and it's an anime, gaming, meme culture type deal. It is often used in a mockery, irony, or exaggerated attention, like saying, "I see that," in a joking or taunting way. So it's kind of like the phrase of "notice bulge" is a long-term standing meme. That's where this type of stuff comes from. Inscriptions were on 3 unfired casings, which read, "Hey Facius, catch." And then you have up arrow symbol, right arrow, and 3 down. Again, this is speculative that this also comes from a video game. A second unfired casing read, "O Beliseo, Beliseo," and that comes from a Netflix TV show, possibly. Or it comes from an old Italian resistance song, but today it's rebranded online and in protest culture. In modern use, it often signals rebellion, anti-establishment thinking, and oppositions to people seen as symbols of power or influence. It's been popularized again through social media, protest videos, and pop culture remixes, not history books, okay? So when you see that, that is a possibility of where it comes by. A third unfired casing read, "If you read this, you are gay, LMAO." I think you know exactly what that is. Investigators also discovered a shoe impression on the northeast corner rooftop edge of the Luce Center building. This is what I was talking to y'all about. The shoe impression was located in the vicinity where the suspect climbed down from the rooftop. So I had that wrong earlier. I apologize, but that is where they found the shoe imprint at. The shoe impression is consistent with the shoe sole characteristic of a Converse Chuck Taylor shoe. Again, something that is very important to when you see images of Tyler Robinson and those shoes. On the evening of September 11th, 2025, a family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident. So again, this is something that goes into why they think that Tyler Robinson did it, is that you have where someone is saying that, hey, Tyler Robinson implied to me that he committed the incident. This information was relayed to the Utah County Sheriff's Office and scene investigators at UVU. The information was also conveyed to the FBI. Investigators reviewed additional footage from UVU surveillance. Again, there's more surveillance that we have not seen, and identified Robinson arriving on UVU campus in a gray Dodge Challenger at 8:29. So this is several hours before they seen the suspect, right? And that was on September 10th, in which he is observed on video in a plain marooned t-shirt, light colored shorts, and a black hat with a white logo and light colored shoes. Now you sit here and you go, wait a second, this is different clothing, correct, than what the suspect is. Now you'll find out later why that was done. When encountered in person by investigators in Washington County on September 12th, early morning hours, Robinson was observed in consistent clothing with the surveillance images. Investigators interviewed a family member of Robinson who stated that Robinson had become more political in recent years. The family member referenced a recent incident in which Robinson came to dinner prior to September 10th, and in conversation with another family member, Robinson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to UVU. They talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints he had. The family member also stated Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate. The family member also confirmed Robinson had a gray Dodge Challenger. So that gray Dodge Challenger lines up with the 8/29 footage that they have. Investigators identified an individual as the roommate of Robinson. Investigators interviewed the roommate, who stated that his roommate, referring to Robinson, made a joke on Discord. Now, I'm not aware of seeing anything that has been shown to us what was said on Discord, okay? So that's another thing that we'll be waiting on. Investigators asked if he would show them the message on Discord. He opened it and showed several messages to investigators and allowed investigators to take photos of the screen as each message was shown by Robinson's roommate. These photos consisted of various messages, including content of messages between the phone contact named Tyler with an emoji icon and Robinson's roommate's device. The content of these messages included messages affirmed with the contact Tyler stating a need to retrieve a rifle from a drop point, leaving the rifle in a bush, messages related to visually watching the area where the rifle was left, and a message referring to having left the rifle wrapped in a towel. Now we're going to get into those messages on the next documents that we read, okay? The messages also refer to engraving bullets and a mention of a scope and the rifle being unique. Messages from the contact Tyler also mentioned that he had changed outfits. Based on the evidence detailed in this statement, I believe there is probable cause that Tyler Robinson committed the crimes or of aggravated murder by shooting Charlie Kirk in a circumstance that put many around him at grave risk of death, felony discharge of a firearm, and obstruction of justice for moving and hiding the rifle believed to be used in the shooting. And then you have this. Now, this information right here is something that you can go and search for yourself and find. So now here's the second document here. Again, you can go and search for this and you can find this on your own if you want to read it for yourself. But this one adds more charges as well as more evidence, and it goes through those text messages. Okay, so let's go over each of the counts. Count 1, aggravated murder, a capital felony in violation code, yada, yada. On September 10th, Utah County, the defendant, Tyler Robinson, intentionally or knowingly caused the death of Charlie Kirk under the following circumstances. The defendant knowingly created a great risk of death to another individual other than Charlie Kirk and the defendant. Now you have the notice. A conviction of this offense may carry death penalty, life without parole, or a term of not less than 25 years, and that may be for life. Goes on to say victim targeting enhancement. This is where they're saying Tyler Robinson intentionally selected Charlie Kirk because of Tyler Robinson's belief or perception regarding Charlie Kirk's political expression. Notice, if the trier of fact finds beyond a reasonable doubt that the victim targeting enhancement applies, the sentencing judge or the board of pardons or parole shall consider the defendant's selection of the victim as an aggravating factor. Then next you have violent offense committed in the presence of a child, aggravating factor. You'll see more and more of this said for just about every one of these counts. So now I'm just going to read off the counts. If you want to read off what's in between them, you're more than welcome to. Count 2 is a felony discharge of a firearm causing serious bodily injury. This is where a discharge in a firearm in the direction of Charlie Kirk, knowingly or having reason to believe that Charlie Kirk may be endangered by the discharge of the firearm, and the act caused serious bodily injury to Charlie Kirk. Count 3, obstruction of justice. A second-degree felony, yada yada, you already read this earlier. This is where, with the intent to hinder, delay, or prevent the investigation, apprehension, prosecution, conviction, or punishment of any person regarding conduct that constitutes a criminal offense, concealed or removed the firearm used to shoot Charlie Kirk, and the conduct that constitutes an offense would be a capital felony or first-degree felony. Count number 4, obstruction of justice. This is where it was with intent to hinder, delay, or prevent the investigation, apprehension, prosecution, conviction, or punishment of any person regarding the conduct that constitutes a criminal offense. Destroyed, concealed, or removed the clothing he wore during the shooting, and the conduct that constitutes an offense would be a capital felony or first-degree felony. Now you have count number 5, tampering with a witness. This is where they believe that an official proceeding or investigation was pending or about to be instituted, or intended to prevent an official proceeding or investigation, and attempted to induce or otherwise cause his roommate to withhold testimony, information, a document, or an item, to wit, directing his roommate to delete incriminating text messages. Count number 6, tampering with a witness. Again, and you have where this one is believed that an official proceeding or investigation was pending or about to be instituted or intended to prevent an official proceeding or investigation, and attempted to induce or otherwise cause his roommate to withhold testimony or information, to wit, directing his roommate to stay silent if police questioned the roommate. Count number 7. This is a violent offense committed in the presence of a child. You can basically understand what that is. So now you have another probable cause statement. This is still Brian Davis. He's the one who did the affidavit of probable cause that we read off earlier. So Brian Davis of the Utah State Bureau of Investigation, having probable cause to believe that the defendant committed the above listed offenses, submitted to the following evidence in support of the following information. On September 10th at approximately 12:23, Charlie Kirk was shot and killed while speaking to a large crowd on the campus at UVU in Utah. Counts 1 and 2. Police found the suspected murder weapon, a bolt-action .30-06 rifle, nearby over the next approximately 33 hours. Police conducted a manhunt for the shooter until the evening of September 11th, when Tyler James Robinson surrendered to police at the Washington County Sheriff's Office. DNA consistent with Robinson was found on the rifle's trigger. That's new to a lot of people that y'all don't know that. After the shooting, Mr. Kirk, Robinson hid the gun. So there's count number 3. Discarded the clothing he wore when he fired the rifle. That's count number 4. And told his lover / roommate to delete incriminating text messages. So that's count number 5. And not to talk to police. That's count number 6. Children were present at the time of the shooting. That's count number 7. So this does similar to the other document that we read that explains who Turning Point USA is, as well as how the scene looked for that day, you're already well aware of that. There's not much that's really added to this. At approximately 15 minutes into the event, Mr. Kirk was answering a question about a mass shooting by transgender individuals when a gunshot rang out. Now, I got a question for you. Do you think with them having this in here that they might be doing what a lot of people have been asking? Hey, is this some strange coincidence that someone was asking about a mass shooting and then an assassination happens, and you have it by transgender individuals? And guess what? You have where Tyler Robinson's roommate is transitioning. So I wonder if maybe the FBI or police have investigated that other person into this. The bullet struck Mr. Kirk in the neck and he slumped to the ground almost immediately. The bullet's trajectory passed closely to several other individuals besides Mr. Kirk, including the questionnaire who was standing directly in front of Mr. Kirk. Children were visible near Mr. Kirk's stage when he was shot. Mr. Kirk was rushed to a nearby hospital where he was declared deceased. The medical examiner report is pending. I want to talk about a couple of things of other conspiracies that are going on. Some people wonder why he was taken to X hospital. Well, one, you have to make sure that it's a trauma center, okay? And then some people are like, well, why didn't he go to the one for his type of injuries? Well, you got to get there really fast, right? So use the first trauma center that you can get to. The next thing is a lot of people have been saying, or another conspiracy is that the bullet is not mentioned on the death certificate. Well, bullets are not usually mentioned on death certificates. They'll be mentioned in the autopsy. And the autopsy is going through with a fine comb right now. And it's going to take time until we see that autopsy due to how big this case is. If this was something that was, like someone shot someone at a gas station and an autopsy was done, maybe 2 or 3 months, something like that. With this being such a high case, it might take a longer time because they want to make sure that they cross their T's and dot their I's exactly, because it is going to be scrutinized very much so of the autopsy report. The UVU surveillance investigation. At the moment of the shot, the UVU police officer was watching the crowd from an elevated vantage point. Again, something else a lot of people have not been hearing. As soon as he heard the shot, he began to scan the area for threats, believing that the shot came from a rifle because of its sound. He looked for potential sniper positions, and he noted a roof area approximately 160 yards away from Mr. Kirk as a potential shooting position and rushed there to look for evidence. The suspected shooting position is adjacent to an open, publicly accessible walkway. To access the suspected location, a person must climb over a railing and then drop to the roof only slightly below. The UVU officer climbed over the railing and down onto the roof. He then walked to the suspected shooting position and confirmed a clear shooting corridor between the position and Mr. Kirk's seat. He also noticed markings in the ground rooftop consisted with a sniper having lain on the roof. Impressions in the gravel potentially left by the elbows, knees, and feet of a person in a prone shooting position. And again, that's what this image is right here. And you see these red spots here. And then you have this next image. And so that is how they came up with this. Police reviewed surveillance from the camera covering the roof and discovered that it recorded an individual dressed in dark clothing cross the railing from the public walkway and drop onto the roof at approximately 12:15. Although the individual moved out of the camera's view for a short time, the camera again captured the individual running across the roof and then low crawling to the area the UVU officer recognized as where the suspected sniper had dropped into a prone shooting position. After a short time, which matches the known time of the shot, the individual arose and ran across the roof to the northeast. So here we come back to this witness that saw the suspect on the roof, and you can kind of see, if you watch this over and over again, where it looks like they're belly crawling at the very end, which is consistent to what the report says. And again, this person, eyewitness, said that they saw them run across here to get into the sniper prone position of laying down. After a short time, which matches the known time of the shot, the individual arose and ran across the rooftop to the northeast. We've already seen that video. This discovery led to an intense review of the UVU surveillance recordings to attempt to track and identify the suspect. Surveillance revealed the following. At approximately 11:51 a.m., the suspect entered the campus from the north. He is seen wearing a black shirt with an American flag in the center, a dark baseball cap, and large sunglasses. Throughout the surveillance, the suspect keeps his head down and rarely raises his head enough to get a clear image of his face. That's important, okay? Now, this report was done, we'll find out at the end, but I think it was done like on the 16th of September, not too long after. So there's a lot more that's potentially added to this. You'll see these statements get redacted more and more as they add things to getting, of crossing their T's and dotting their I. As he proceeds across the campus, he is seen walking with an unusual gait. The suspect walks with very little bending in his right leg. We already have gone through this, consistent with a rifle being hidden in his pants. This unusual gait continues until the suspect is seen crossing the railing of the open walkway and onto the roof, where he leaves the camera's view. A camera later captures the suspect as he runs across the roof to the suspected shooting position. Immediately after the shot was fired, a camera captures the suspect running across the roof carrying an item whose shape is consistent with a rifle. So again, I've shown you all of this. Okay, and they have other types of surveillance that's more than likely going to be provided, once trial starts. Okay, the suspect is then seen climbing down from the roof. He appears to drop the item he was carrying as he hits the ground in a controlled fall. He then picks up the item and runs towards the northeast end of the campus. Expanded crime scene investigation. Law enforcement officers followed the suspect's escape path to the northeast end of the campus, where they believe the suspect left campus and entered a wooden area. In the wooden area, investigators found a bolt-action rifle wrapped in a towel. The rifle contained 1 spent round and 3 unspent rounds. This is consistent with the facts officers observed at the time of and immediately after the shooting. No shell casings were found on the roof, suggesting a bolt action rather than an auto-loading weapon, and only a single round was fired. Each round in the rifle contained an etched inscription as follows, and we already went over this, okay? The rifle's ammunition rounds and towel were sent to forensics processing. DNA consistent with Robinson was found on the trigger, other parts of the rifle, the fired cartridge casing, and 2 of the 3 unfired cartridges, and the towel. Again, something that a lot of people I'm not hearing talk about, but we should be talking about. There's just so much evidence that's overwhelming, okay? Law enforcement was unable to immediately locate the shooter, so they published photos of the shooter from the UVU surveillance cameras and asked for the public's help to identify him. Meanwhile, law enforcement continued to try to identify the shooter through other means, okay? That's something that's important. If you watch some of my other lives, I get into other ways that I think that there are other methods that they use to try to find somebody. The Washington County investigation. On the evening of September 11th, as law enforcement continued their investigation, Tyler Jane Robinson went to the Washington County Sheriff's Office with his parents and a family friend to turn himself in. Robinson's mother stated the following to the police on that day. The day after the shooting, Robinson's mother saw the photo of the shooter in the news and thought the shooter looked like her son. Robinson's mother called her son and asked him where he was. He said he was at home sick and that he had also been homesick on September 10th. Robinson's mother expressed concern to her husband that the suspected shooter looked like Robinson. Robinson's father agreed. Robinson's mother explained that over the last year or so, Robinson had become more political and had started to lean more to the left, becoming more pro-gay and trans-right oriented. She stated that Robinson began to date his roommate, a biological male who was transitioning genders. This resulted in several discussions with family members, but especially between Robinson and his father, who have very different political views. In one conversation before the shooting, Robinson mentioned that Charlie Kirk would be holding an event at UVU, and which Robinson said was a stupid venue for the event. Robinson accused Kirk of spreading hate. Robinson's father reported that when his wife showed him the surveillance image of the suspected shooter in the news, he agreed that it looked like their son. He also believed that the rifle that police suspected the shooter used matched a rifle that was given to his son as a gift. As a result, Robinson's father contacted his son and asked him to send a photo of the rifle. Robinson did not respond. However, Robinson's father spoke on the phone with Robinson. Robinson implied that he planned to take his own life. Robinson's parents were able to convince him to meet at their home. As they discussed the situation, Robinson implied that he was the shooter and stated that he couldn't go to jail and wanted to end it. Again, the important thing right here is Robinson implied it, okay? When asked why he did it, Robinson explained there is too much evil and the guy, Charlie Kirk, spreads too much hate. They talked about Robinson turning himself in and convinced Robinson to speak with a family friend who is a retired deputy sheriff. At Robinson's father's request, the family friend met with Robinson and his parents and convinced Robinson to turn himself in. The family friend spoke to police and reported telling Robinson that it would be best if he brought all evidence with him to the sheriff's office to avoid police having to search his parents' home. The family friend also asked Robinson if he had any clothes that were related to what he did. Robinson implied that he had disposed of the clothes in different areas. Now, not sure if they've been able to retrieve that, but again, this is in different areas to where the clothing was disposed of. Now we get into the roommate. Police interviewed Robinson's roommate, a biological male who was involved in a romantic relationship with Robinson. The roommate told police that the roommate received messages from Robinson about the shooting and provided those messages to police. On September 10th, the roommate received a text message from Robinson which said, "Drop what you're doing, look under my keyboard." The roommate looked under the keyboard and found a note that stated, "I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it." Police found a photograph of this note. Now, I am going to read this off, but I have a thought, okay? Doesn't mean that this is a fact or anything, but it's a thought. I wonder if Tyler Robinson was trying to clear his roommate's name to where he would never have any charges on him. Because I will agree, it does seem weird how this is, as well as the detail in the confession, okay? So I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever know why. But anyhow, here we go. Robinson, I am still okay, my love. After reading the note, the roommate responded, "What?" with a whole bunch of question marks. "You're joking, right?" And then Robinson says, "I'm still okay, my love, but am struck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I gotta grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep the secret till I died of old age. I am sorry to involve you." Roommate, you weren't the one who did it, right? Robinson, I am. I'm sorry. Roommate, I thought they caught the person. Robinson, no, they grabbed some crazy old dude and then interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of the side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering. Roommate, why? Robinson, why did I do it? Roommate, yes. Robinson, I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I'm able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they have moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it. Now there's 3 dots, so I'm assuming, don't hold me to this, that this is, gaps in time, or maybe a phone call took place. I'm not sure. Anyhow, roommate, how long have you been planning this? Robinson, a bit over a week, I believe. I can get close to it, but there's a squad car parked right by it. I think they already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it. Robinson, I'm wishing I had circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got to my vehicle. I'm worried that what my old man would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle. I don't know if it had serial numbers, but it wouldn't trace to me. I worry about my prints. I worry about prints I had to leave it in a bush where I changed outfits. Didn't have the ability or time to bring it with. I might have to abandon it and hope that they don't find prints. How the fuck will I explain losing it to my old man? Only thing I left was the rifle wrapped in a towel. Remember how I was engraving bullets? The effing messages are mostly a big meme. If I see notices bulge UWU on Fox News, I might have a stroke, all right? I'm gonna have to leave it. That really effing sucks. Judging from today, I'd say my grandpa's gun does just fine. I don't know. I think that was a $2,000 scope. Then Robinson says, delete this exchange. Robinson says, my dad wants photos of the rifle. He says Grandpa wants to know who has what. The feds released a photo to the rifle, and it is very unique. He's calling me right now, not answering. Robinson, since Trump got into office, my dad has been pretty diehard MAGA. Robinson, I'm going to turn myself in willingly. One of my neighbors here is a deputy for the sheriff. Robinson, you're all I worry about, my love. Roommate, I'm much more worried about you. Robinson, don't talk to the media, please. Don't take any interviews or make any comments. If any police ask you questions, ask for a lawyer and stay silent. The search of Robinson's residence. Police executed a search warrant on Robinson's residence. During that search, police discovered a shell casing with etchings like the etchings found on the shells in the rifle near UVU. Police also found several targets with bullet holes in Robinson's home. So, again, this is just more evidence that's building up. Count 1, aggravated murder pertains to Robinson's shooting and killing of Charlie Kirk in a manner that exposed others, in addition to Mr. Kirk, to a great risk of death. Count 2, felony discharge of a firearm pertains to Robinson's shooting towards Mr. Kirk, knowing that doing so would endanger those in the bullet's path. The shot caused serious bodily injury to Mr. Kirk, ultimately resulting in his death. Count 3, obstructing justice pertains to Robinson's removal and hiding of the rifle he used to shoot Mr. Kirk. Count number 4, obstructing justice pertains to Robinson's removal and hiding of the clothing he wore when he shot Mr. Kirk. Count number 5, witness tampering pertains to Robinson's statement to his roommate, telling his roommate to delete their text exchange that followed the shooting. Count number 6, witness tampering pertains to Robinson's statement to his roommate, telling the roommate, if any police ask you questions, ask for a lawyer and stay quiet. Count 7, violence offense committed in the presence of a child pertains to Robinson's shooting of Mr. Kirk in the presence of children under the age of 14 who were visible at the event. Based upon evidence received from Brian Davis on the Utah State Bureau of Investigation, I have reason to believe that the defendant committed the offenses as charged herein. And then you have the date, September 16th to 25. So there'll be more as time goes by that's going to be added to this. And you'll see redactments even at times. It's just how things go for true crime cases. Thanks everybody for watching this. I hope this shows everybody what the evidence is, because I know there's a lot of people who are hearing conspiracies and they're just wanting to know just the facts, as well as also they're wanting to hear somehow conspiracies can be dispelled. So hopefully I did a good job at that as well. If you don't mind, make sure that you give a thumbs up on this video and share it. Hit the bell icon, and I think you hit it again, and you'll see all of my videos to where you get notified. And sometimes I do go live, so if you click on my live notice, you will see that there's other videos there. Everyone have a wonderful, blessed, and amazing day. Take care. God bless. Do not live in fear, because if you live in fear, you die several times in your life. If you do not live in fear, you only die one time. Take care. God bless.